Hey everyone, and welcome to Conscious Ground, where we take a look at trends and topics through the lens of connection, of leadership, and of solidarity. Today, we'll be talking about three topics. We'll be covering AI and its effect on our mental health and our ability to connect with ourselves and connect with other people, which is not talked about quite a lot through all of the hype we're seeing. We'll also be talking about the US engaging in military operations in Venezuela and the broader impacts of war and its effect on all of us. And third, we'll be talking about a book that sheds more light, I'll say, on the ever increasing homelessness problem in the United States. I'm Maddie Stevenson. I'm the founder of Conscious Ground, where we work to help make the world a little more connected, where we define and demand modern leadership that is for the benefit of us all, and where we help people remember how to collaborate and work together in a world that tells us not to, in a world of systems that tell us to disconnect with each other every day. And if you want a more connected world, if you want to make small changes that have a big impact on yourself and on others around you, give this video a like to amplify our message. Give us a follow to learn more about how you can do that. Because while we might not be able to make major, drastic changes in the world today, all of it starts with us making small changes in our own lives that ripple out. Because we can't change the world in a second, but we can change the world around us. We can change our own world, and we can change the world of the people that we interact with every day. So let's get into it. Our first topic of the day, we'll be talking about the effect of AI on our mental health, how people are using AI and talking to AI models around mental health topics, and very drastic and important conversations that they are not having with other people, where they are turning to these AI models. So I want to first start with that, where there is recent data coming out from OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT, where they're sharing how many users exhibit psychosis or suicidal thoughts using ChatGPT. So this is incredibly impactful to me. I think it's very important that we all talk about this. So this is, again, OpenAI's own information, their own study, saying that they are seeing signs of mental health emergencies, psychosis, or suicidal thoughts on their platform. And they talk about 0.07% of users active in a given week, and I think that's really important to talk about, exhibit such signs here. And one thing I don't have highlighted here is that ChatGPT has about 800 million weekly users. So while the article talks about 0.07% sounding like a small percentage, with a population of 800 million users, that is quite a lot of people. And the article fails to do the math here, but 0.07% of 800 million users is 56 million people a week are having discussions with ChatGPT around some of these mental health problems. And they go a little further. They say they estimate 0.15% of ChatGPT users have conversation that include indicators of potential suicidal planning or intent. And if we do the math there, we're talking about 120 million people a week that are talking about topics of suicide with ChatGPT. And I think this is something that is incredibly alarming, and it's something that I think we absolutely need to talk about more. We are already going through a time where we've spent decades on social media, and social media algorithms have been used to capture our attention and disconnect us. And so people are already feeling very disconnected. They don't feel like they have people to talk to. The numbers around isolation and loneliness are staggering. So, of course, people get a tool like this that can talk to them, that can understand their language, and people are going to start using these tools to talk about things. And I want to caveat all this with that I don't think AI is inherently bad. I think there are a lot of great uses for AI. I work in AI, and I think there is a lot of potential in many areas with AI, but I think we need to be able to hold two thoughts simultaneously here, where we hold the potential, but also the potential impacts and dangers, because this is alarming to me, and I imagine it is alarming to you. So moving forward, when we talk about people using these tools to talk about so many of these things, we have a major problem here is in that these LLMs, these AI models and chatbots are designed to be a yes person to you. And we're talking about sycophancy, the idea that someone or these models are not really going to challenge your thinking. They're going to only support your thinking. And this is a major problem, not only in just getting relevant information, but especially if you are experiencing something like psychosis, if you are experiencing a mental health problem and you go to one of these tools, it is rarely going to challenge you. It is rarely going to push back on your ideas. It is only going to support your ideas. And these systems are inherently designed this way. And so I think combined with the amount of people talking to these models in this way, again, is incredibly alarming. So the context here is a study shows that how these models are trained can encourage the behavior that is shown when people ask questions, and it can one give an inaccurate response, as we say there, but it's also when we have something that's only encouraging us and encouraging every idea that we have, never pushing back, we might become more reliant on them. We might, instead of going to an actual human being for them, as this article states, we're going to feel more compelled to turn towards this chatbot that never questions us, that only supports us, and combined with some of these alarming stats around mental health and speaking to these systems is a really bad recipe. And so, yeah, as I said, we're already just disconnected and less inclined to talk to people. And now we have these tools which draw us in, which feel like they're giving us support, yet are not challenging behaviors. And there's been some really alarming studies around people who have exhibited suicidal behavior who have been encouraged to keep it quiet and not tell anybody. So again, very alarming stuff, and we really need to talk about this. And I want to finish this off with turning to one other topic around this. And this is that now these companies will be turning on erotic content within their models. And so people will be able to engage in eroticism. This is already available on Twitter, on X, and OpenAI will be launching this soon as well. So again, in my opinion, incredibly alarming stuff. And this is a great article. I'll include all of this in the description. But now, in addition to what I just talked about mental health, we've already been offloading our thinking, and now as we've seen, offloading our kind of our emotional discussions and our emotional support to these chatbots. But now we're going to have another huge problem in that our desires are going to be offloaded to these systems. And so I love this article, which I'll share, but it says by integrating sexuality into large language models and visual generators, platforms are not liberating desire, they are administering it. Algorithms learn what attracts us, they replicate it, they reinforce it, and they turn it into dependence. Users stop exploring desire, they repeat it, and repetition, safe, comfortable, and risk-free becomes a form of domestication. And I think that is incredibly well said, because as I mentioned, we've got these other problems already existing, and now another human capability, another thing that makes us inherently human, desire, that magnetism you might feel when you feel attraction to another person. This is a very deep, inherently human quality. And now we will be further drawn in and our attention taken away when these algorithms can produce something that sparks our desire and takes our attention away, and then tells us what our desire is, because this is what these algorithms do. They put us into bubbles. This has happened on social media where we are kind of told what to think, and algorithms only reinforce that thinking and that behavior. And so again, I think all of this is very alarming and we need to talk about it. We need to be aware of it. And this article goes on to say that this is turning desire into a managed service run by algorithms in a final step toward a docile humanity in which intimacy becomes a subscription. And yes, again, I really like this article. I suggest you read it, but it is so many of these things are alarming, and these companies, of course, are not going to talk about it. They're going to say how great this stuff is. They're going to tell you that this will change your life, and I think that's really important to talk about here, right? When these systems first came out, we were supposed to hear about them changing the world and curing cancer, and those things might be possible in the future, but that is not currently the state now. And if that was the intention of these companies, I don't think we would be seeing sex and eroticism being put into these models, because we have to keep in mind these companies are here to make profits. So I want to close this video with one more alarming thing around this same topic. And in doing some of this research and thinking about this, I of course got ads around some AI content. And I absolutely want to share this here, where I got an ad for this company, Two Way, which says human connection reimagined in the age of AI. And one thing that was interesting when I first saw this, it actually was speaking about the possibility of having a connection with a relative who had passed away, with like your grandmother, or again, a relative who was no longer with you, where you could upload some images of them and some information about them and talk to this person that was no longer in your life. And I think they got a lot of backlash. Their website changed, and I don't see that on the website anymore, because this is quite fascinating to me, where they're talking about human connection, but you're not talking to a human being. You are talking to a large language model. You're talking to a machine. And so there's a lot of great stuff on this website, so they say, around creating avatars and being social and connecting audiences and creators and being able to have human connections. But again, we're talking to machines, and there's also one other problem. When I look at this website, it seems okay. It seems, yep, it seems to be very clear on what they're talking about. I'll be able to talk to a life coach. I'll be able to talk to Shakespeare, for example. And then I went on and I downloaded their app to give it a try. And I want to show you the first thing that I saw when I loaded this app. It wasn't Creator, it wasn't Shakespeare, it was an erotic, to me, picture of a woman. This is the very first thing I saw when I loaded this app. And so again, it just speaks to, we're kind of not really being told the truth about these things. We are being sold a bill of goods, like we'll be able to have human connection here. And this is actually a video of what I saw when I first loaded this app. And so human connection doesn't seem like what I'm being sold here. This seems a little bit like an ulterior motive, almost like your website is not really enough, and you have to prey on my human desire as a heterosexual man to get me to use your app. So I think it's very misleading, and I just really I don't agree with this talk about human connection. We need actual human connection with each other. As I said, we're already isolated, we're already lonely due to so many things, due to social media, COVID, and so much more. And I think the last thing we need is to be further dragged away from human connection by things like this. So as I said, as I close out, what exactly can you do in these situations? Well, one, if you use AI, be intentional about how you use AI. Make sure that you're not using it for everything, for all of your thinking. Make sure that if you use it as an emotional support, that is not your only emotional support. Make sure that, yes, we've talked about some of the dangers here. So you have some awareness about the risks that you can find and some of the risks to your mental health. So if you are using this, try to be, again, thoughtful and conscious about how you use it. And I would suggest, if you're using this, try to, especially on an emotional way, make sure you talk to other people about it. Practice holding multiple points of view. Hey, this technology is exciting. I can do a lot of really cool things with that. I can create new ideas. I can iterate on my ideas. I can do some things faster. But also, man, oh man, there's some scary stuff here, and we've got to watch out. And what will be the impact if we don't continue to think about this and put some safeguards in place, especially for children. So again, talk about it with other people, ask about it, use this as a way to have human connections with other people. Tell them what you think, tell them your thoughts, ask them what they think about it. And this can be a great way to practice communication, practice human connection, and you don't have to stop using AI to do it, but you can use them in concert. And so that is what I would say about this. Please grow your awareness around this area and use it as a way to connect with yourself and what you believe about these things, as well as a way to potentially connect with other people. And if you want to grow your own ability to connect with yourself or connect with others, you can take a look at the description for our courses, where we offer the ability for you to practice human connection and connecting with yourself, connecting with what you believe in, as well as communicating and connecting with other people. So again, if you believe and want a world that is a little more connected, if you want to be able to be more connected to yourself and other people, give us a like, amplify this message out, give us a follow, because this is what we do. We help with human connection. We ask for leaders that will make decisions that will benefit us and not companies that make these AI systems. We all need to benefit from this technology, and we need to have a say in how it gets built and how it gets deployed. So thanks for watching, and we'll move on to our next topic. Okay, our next topic